Hi, my name is Jason England, and I am a magician, sleight of hand expert, and gambling expert living in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today I want to share with you some of my favorite gambling and cheating collectibles. I've been collecting gambling and cheating equipment for almost 20 years now, and I want to show you some of my favorite toys. So one of my favorite gambling collectibles is something known as a whip cup. A whip cup is a dice cup that has had something special done to it, and it is a set of dice that has had something special done to them. The dice by themselves act normally, and you would never know that there's something wrong with them. If you don't know how to use the cup and you put the dice inside it and you shake them out, you are going to get a random roll. But if you know how to use these special dice with this special cup, you can get some pretty interesting results. I'll show you. Shake them up, give them a couple of shakes like that, and notice that I've got a pair of aces and a pair of sixes. And just like in draw poker, we get to draw to our two pair, and I got another ace. That's a full house, aces over sixes. Let's try it with these poker dice. Same basic idea, put them in, shake them up. If I do nothing, I'm going to get a random roll. But if you know how to shake the cup just right, like this, what do you know? 4 aces and a king. It's hard to beat that. Another special type of gimmicked cup is something called a butterfly cup. These are only found in old gambling catalogs. They're collectibles. They're very expensive and you don't see them too often today, and you don't see anyone really using them today. But the idea is this. We can take a pair of dice and we can switch them for a different pair. Normally, of course, the dice would be the same color and the same size. So the first pair is dropped into the cup, and the cup is secretly twisted on the bottom. There's a little mark on this cup so I can see where to push, and there's a button in there. And if I push that button and turn, those dice have vanished. They're actually hidden inside a secret flap that moves like this inside the cup. Whenever I want to switch them, I drop these dice inside, and in the act of twisting the bottom of the cup, shake them up, we pour out the red ones, and the white dice are now gone. Butterfly cups are really cool and interesting collectibles, but the truth is most people use sleight of hand switches these days. They don't depend on a piece of apparatus like this. Here's an example of a sleight of hand switch. These are not normal dice. These are gaffed dice or gimmicked dice. They have different numbers on them than what they're supposed to have. These dice have only 3s, 5s, and 6s. So it is impossible to get certain totals with these dice. Typically, this is the kind of dice switch you would see at a large crap table like we have in an American casino. One pair of dice is hidden in the hand, and in the act of throwing these dice, as you pick them up and throw them the length of the table, they're actually switched for the white dice, and the dice you picked up are palmed and hidden in your hand. This is hard to do in a small space like this, but this is the idea. And again, on a big table with lots of people gathered around, this is a pretty deceptive switch. So this is the way gaffed dice typically are used in American casinos anyway, or in the American game of craps. Here I have a collection of gimmicked or gaffed dice. Most of these dice are misspotted dice, similar to the ones I showed you before. They don't have the right numbers. They do not have the proper numbers on them. But there are other types of loaded dice. So this die has all the proper numbers, but it has loaded slugs, they call them, inside. And this die feels slightly different. As you can see, when I try to lift it very gingerly, it pivots back to the bottom. That's not me doing that, that's the die doing that. The heavy side is trying to go back to the bottom. You lift it and it falls back down. And there's one other type of gimmicked die that's pretty easy to find if you have a magnet. Let's see, oh, what do you know? Almost every single one of these dice in these bottom rows are magnetic. And if the magnet is under the table, you can get the die to roll whatever you want it to roll, just based on which way I'm turning the magnet. So this looks like that pulls a 6, and this will probably, yep, pull an ace. Now normally the magnet would be much larger than this and much stronger than this. This magnet is just used to demonstrate the idea. Oh, I feel a very strong magnetic field right there. What do you know? This says the Dunes, which was an old Las Vegas casino. Now it's gone now, been gone for years.
Because of you?
Not because of me, I had nothing to do with it.
How much was that?
I got a screaming deal on eBay years ago. 2009, I bought 5 cases of dice. This is a case. I bought 5 of these for $900. But I didn't know if they were gaffed, so I took a chance. But most of the time when you see dice in a case like this, at least some of them are gaffed. And about 70% of what I bought was gaffed, and 30% were the fronts that go with them.
It's because you knew what to look for, and
yes,
you knew the value of the dice.
Well, I knew what to look for, and I thought they were gaffed, but I couldn't be sure until I got them. And here's the problem. If you ask the eBay seller, hey, are those gaffed? Then they will suddenly pull the auction off and quadruple their price and put them back on, because you've tipped them off that they have something much more valuable than they thought. So I didn't say anything, I just took a chance on them and I bought them, and I was right, they were gaffed.
You know, I have like 6 tops or something, and I had to pay like $300 for it.
Yeah, so I would still pay that much money for good brand new stuff. The new stuff is still expensive, and that's okay. I don't mind paying for it, but it'll live longer than me.
Out of all these different types of gaffed dice, which one is the best one?
There's no real answer to that.
It depends on the situation.
All depends on the situation. Misspotted dice win the money the fastest, but they're also subject to be spotted because you can see it. You know, if I pick it up and there's another 6 on the bottom, that's a problem. And then after that would probably be magnetic dice, but with magnetic dice, the situation is very difficult to manage sometimes. You want the field to turn on and turn off, turn on and turn off. So it's never just a solid magnet, a steady magnet. It's always an electromagnet. And so wiring that is difficult, turning it on, turning it off is difficult. So that has a whole bunch of problems all by itself. So weight is probably the next best thing, but weight's not guaranteed. You can have weighted dice that fail, 9 times in a row. And then over time, they'll make you money. But you can roll a pair of loaded dice, weighted dice, and it not come up many times in a row.
Oh, it's just like card counting.
Exactly. Over time, you've got a 1 to 1.5% edge, but you can still lose every pin in your pocket for an entire week if you just have a bad run of luck. So I hope you enjoyed the dice collection. There's other types of gaff dice that are out there, but those 3 types that I just showed you are the most basic types and the most common.